Thank you for clicking on this video. Welcome back, friends. My wife said, I need to find out if big size really matters. You'll never know, don't worry. I just replied, okay. The word hung in the air between us, quiet and final. Her lips had curled into a smug little smile, her eyes testing me like a child dangling a match over a pool of gasoline. She was waiting for the explosion, the shouting, the pleading, the tears that would validate her power. I gave her silence. I gave her a single, calm syllable that sealed everything. We had been together for 7 years. I loved her with the kind of deep, unwavering devotion that bends a man's spine and reshapes his world. I built her a fortress of loyalty, stability, and a home she never had to doubt. In return, she gave me laughter, warmth, and the precious, fragile illusion of safety. Or perhaps that is just the story I told myself as I watched her leave for another girls' night, trusting her without a second thought. But her words that night were not a careless slip. They were a deliberate confession, a taunt, a dagger she had sharpened in secret and now thrust before my eyes. The initial pain was a white-hot brand searing across my chest, but it did not last. It cooled, it hardened, it calcified into something far more potent and dangerous. Absolute clarity. Her words were a message. She wanted me to know she was stepping out. She wanted me to feel powerless, small, and cuckolded in my own home. But I am not small, and I do not break. The confirmation came swiftly. A phone left carelessly unlocked on the kitchen counter glowed with her secrets. The messages were a neon sign of her betrayal. Can't wait for tonight. He'll never know, LOL. Bigger is always better. Every line was a fresh burn, but I did not look away. My fingers moved methodically. Screenshot. Save. Forward to a private, secure email. I was no longer a husband seeking the painful truth. I was a strategist gathering ammunition. Her girls' nights were not filled with cocktails and gossip. They were motel rooms and cheap perfume, and every secret she thought was buried, I unearthed and cataloged in cold, patient silence. Anger screams, revenge whispers. I chose whispers. Phase 1, secure the perimeter. I quietly redirected our joint finances. Passwords were changed, accounts were separated. My paycheck began routing to a new, private account she knew nothing about. I was dismantling her safety net, one invisible thread at a time. Phase 2, gather intelligence. The dossier grew. Screenshots, hotel receipts pulled from her jacket pockets, itemized phone records. It was more than enough to crush her in any courtroom, to ensure she would leave with nothing but the clothes on her back and the weight of her regret. Phase 3, the stage. I did not want a messy, emotional explosion. Explosions are over too quickly. I wanted a slow, deliberate collapse. I wanted to construct a stage so perfect that when the curtain fell, she wouldn't just lose me. She would lose the very image of herself she clung to so desperately. A week later, she strutted out for another girls' night, wrapped in a tight black dress, her heels clicking on the floor like a countdown to her own ruin. I waited, calm and patient. The play was already in motion. By the time she returned, the locks had been changed. The door to the home she took for granted no longer recognized her key. But I had not fled. I was waiting inside. When her frantic knocking finally came, I opened the door. And standing beside me was her mystery man, though not the one she expected. It was her father. The man she adored, respected, and feared disappointing above all others. I had called him earlier that evening. I had spoken calmly, without hysteria, and then I had sent him everything. The screenshots, the proof, the sordid truth she had tried to bury beneath lies and laughter. The shock on her face was the masterpiece I had painted, stroke by silent stroke. Her jaw went slack. The color drained from her cheeks, leaving her makeup a garish mask. Care to explain? Her father asked, his voice low, deadly calm, vibrating with a fury he rarely showed. Her mouth opened and closed, producing only a strangled gasp. Her eyes, wide with terror, darted from his furious, shamed face to my calm, implacable one. She looked at me, desperate, pleading for me to somehow stop this, to save her. I simply met her gaze, steady and unflinching. No yelling, no I told you so, just a silence that screamed louder than any accusation. Her father threw the envelope of printed evidence onto the foyer table. The sound echoed through the quiet house like a gunshot. Her world did not just end. It evaporated. Right there in the doorway of the home she was no longer welcome in. The aftermath was swift and merciless. Divorce papers were filed, the damning evidence attached as Exhibit A. The friends who once envied her perfect marriage now saw the rot festering beneath the glitter. Her father, disgusted, cut her off financially and emotionally. The man she cheated with vanished like smoke. He was never a partner, just a temporary thrill. And me, I walked away clean. My finances secure, my reputation intact, my future stretching out before me, free of her poison. She wanted to know if size mattered. It did. Not the physical, carnal size she was so obsessed with, but the size of a man's patience, the size of his silence, the immense, unyielding size of his resolve when he is pushed beyond the brink. She mistook my quiet for weakness. She mistook my calm for smallness. And now, as she stands alone, stripped of her security, her respect, and the carefully constructed mask she wore so proudly, she finally understands. I was never small. I was always more than she could ever handle. And when I closed the door on her that final night, her stunned, broken face burned into my memory, I realized the ultimate truth. Revenge is not about rage. It is about control. And I never lost mine.
Thanks for watching PastQuest. If you enjoyed the journey into history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing stories from the past. See you in the next quest.